My name is Emily, and I am 52 years old. I have been married to my husband, Michael, for almost 30 years. Together, we have built a life that has weathered both storms and sunshine. We have raised 2 children who are now grown and living lives of their own, leaving Michael and me to rediscover each other in the quietness of an almost empty home. For the most part, our marriage has been steady, built on trust and understanding, though like any couple we have had our share of disagreements. But nothing could have prepared me for the strange request Michael made one evening, one that left me completely speechless and forced me to question how well I truly knew the man I had loved all my adult life. It was a Thursday evening in late autumn. The air outside was crisp, and the trees along our street had lost most of their golden leaves. I had just finished preparing dinner, roasted chicken with garlic mashed potatoes and green beans, Michael's favorite, and I set the table as he walked through the door. He looked tired, his dark brown hair streaked with silver more noticeable under the hallway light, but there was a softness in his smile as he kissed my cheek. "Smells wonderful," he said warmly. We sat down to eat, and the conversation flowed as it usually did. He asked about my day, and I told him about the little things, my visit to the bookstore, a call from our daughter, Claire, and a neighbor who stopped by with homemade pie. He talked about work, his colleagues, and the stress of finishing a project before the weekend. It was a simple, ordinary evening, or so I thought. But after dinner, when I was washing the dishes, Michael leaned against the counter, unusually quiet. His eyes seemed far away, as if he were gathering the courage to say something he wasn't sure he should. "What's on your mind?" I asked gently. He hesitated, then finally spoke. "Emily, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. It's unusual, and I don't know how you'll feel about it." I dried my hands on a towel and turned to him. "After nearly 30 years together, I think I can handle unusual." "Go ahead." His voice lowered, almost uncertain. "I want us to try something different. Not in the sense you might think, but in a way that might bring us closer. I want to share something deeply personal with you, something I've kept to myself for years." I frowned slightly, curiosity piqued but also cautious. "Michael, you can tell me anything. What is it?" He took a deep breath and confessed. "I've been writing stories. Not work reports, not journals, but stories. And I want you to read them with me tonight. Not just read them, I want you to act them out with me, like we're living inside them." I blinked, surprised. Of all the requests I might have imagined, this was not one. "You've been writing stories? Since when?" "Since college," he admitted with a nervous chuckle. "I never told anyone, not even you. It started as a way to relieve stress, to imagine different worlds, but over the years, I wrote more. I kept them hidden because I was embarrassed. But lately, I've felt like I need to share them, with you." I was speechless. This was the strange request. To act out his stories. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or simply say yes. My husband, the practical, steady engineer who balanced spreadsheets and designed projects, had been carrying around a hidden creative world all this time. "What kind of stories are we talking about?" I asked carefully. He smiled, a boyish grin I hadn't seen in years. "Mostly about love, courage, and second chances. Nothing scary or inappropriate, just stories where 2 people find each other again, even when life tries to pull them apart." I wrote them thinking of us. My heart softened. I had expected something heavy, maybe even troubling, but instead, it was this, a secret passion he had hidden for decades. Still, the idea of acting them out together felt strange, maybe even a little silly. But the look in his eyes told me how important it was to him. So that night, after we cleared the dishes, Michael brought out a leather-bound notebook from the drawer of his desk. The pages were filled with his neat handwriting, some faded with time. He handed it to me, his hands trembling slightly. "Will you do this with me?" he asked. I sat on the couch, holding the notebook like it was a fragile treasure. "I'll try," I said softly. "For you." We opened to the first story, one he had written when he was barely 20 years old. It was about a young couple who met by chance in a small town, both carrying the weight of past mistakes, and how they slowly learned to trust again. As I read the lines aloud, Michael spoke the parts he had written for the man, while I voiced the woman. At first, I felt awkward, almost like we were playing children's games, but slowly the words drew me in. The characters' emotions mirrored pieces of our own marriage, the fights we'd had, the moments we had almost drifted apart, and the reasons we had always come back to each other. I found myself tearing up, realizing that Michael had been quietly weaving our life into these stories, capturing memories and feelings we had shared, yet never spoken aloud. Hours passed as we read and acted out the stories together. Sometimes we laughed at the younger, dramatic writing of his college years, and other times I cried when the words touched too close to our own truth. By the end of the night, I wasn't speechless from confusion anymore, I was speechless from wonder. I looked at him, this man I had loved for so long, and realized there were still hidden corners of his heart I had yet to discover. His strange request had opened a door I didn't even know existed, and through it, I saw not just my husband, but the dreamer he had always been. That night, as we put the notebook away, Michael whispered, "Thank you for not laughing at me." I took his hand and smiled. How could I laugh at the most beautiful part of you? And from that night forward, his strange request became our tradition. Every weekend, we would open the notebook, step into his stories, and live them together. It made our bond stronger, reminding us that love is not just about living side by side but about daring to enter each other's imaginations, no matter how unusual it may seem.